this idea of what everyone else is up to that's kind of this like built on this like Instagram myth of like all the moms are having a great time and all the lesbians are piled up on each other's shoulders through the sunroof of the car, driving around town, high-fiving other lesbian parents. First and foremost, we missed you guys. Natasha, did you miss me?
Oh, sure.
What the fuck?
No, I have FOMO because your weekend looked so fun. I saw your pictures.
Well, we'll get right into it, but first we need to let our guest in. I'm so excited. I feel like this is our first time having a legitimate guest.
Oh, like someone who actually knows what they're talking about.
Exactly. Everyone else has been fluff. And now you've come to join us on the first real deal episode of Good Enough. Our guest today is a mom of 3, a blended mom to 7. Let that sink in. A blended mom to 7. She's a nationally recognized behavior expert, a parenting coach. She's the founder of The Family Behaviorist. She's launching a new podcast called The Behavior Blueprint. And yeah, Natasha, I'm taking this whole intro. I'm loving it. I'm going all the way. I'm introducing Mandy Grass. Mandy Grass.
Hi, Mandy.
Hi, guys. A real oversell with the like expert kind of
title, but that's who you are.
And you have 7 children, weird. And having 7 children, it's like you have a lab in your house. You can like understand, because I have 1 child, so I just kind of try the one thing, and hopefully, she's an angel.
Yeah, I mean it's a work in progress, but that's the only way you learn, right? You have to experience it, and you're like, oh, that didn't work very well.
7 feels like a binge of experience.
Yeah, it's and my kids are on the younger side of our age ranges, 16, 14, 12, 9, 9, 7, and 4.
Oh my God.
So my girls are 9, 7, and 4. So I got catapulted into preteens and teens and tweens. So we're figuring it out.
Wow. And how long have you been a step-parent?
Since August. I'm not formally, we're not married, but we've been blended since August.
Oh, so this is new.
Mm-hmm.
And how much do the teenagers like you?
I think we have a pretty good relationship, I don't know, I'll have to see. No, I think we have a really great relationship. The kids have been, one of the easiest parts. It's been really nice.
My friend got a divorce, and she said she would do a blended family if there were boy teens, because she was like, oh, that would be easier than like girl teens.
So his children are 4 boys and I have 3 girls. So it's like a very modern Brady Bunch over here. But I didn't ever think I'd get to parent boys. So it is really exciting.
I find it so funny when people are like, especially when it's like a woman being like, oh, I do not fuck with girls. It's like, well, go to therapy, fix yourself. There was a guy at the playground once. I used to do a joke about it. He said, which one's yours? I go, that's my son over there. He goes, oh, you got a son. That's good. You do not want a daughter. And I'm like, motherfucker, I am a daughter. What's wrong with you? But there are obviously, like, you with your expertise, there are commonalities with like sons and daughters, right? Like which ones are real and which ones are fake?
I do think the boys get less wrapped up in the drama, and like right now with like the group messages are being left out. They care far less about that than the girls do. But the physicality, these boys are much more physical than my girls are. We like, talk it out and kumbaya and have tears, less, WWE slam you down and we'll deal with it later kind of stuff.
Hey, speaking of slam you down, before we pressed record, you said you've been listening to us, and Natasha came in hot with like, one of us has to win, one of us has to lose. I'd love to know, just from listening to our podcast so far, who's winning and who's losing.
What do you agree with that I do, and what do you agree with that Sabrina does, if anything?
Okay, so I am a no iPads at the dinner table, no iPads out to eat. Hard on Natasha's side for that one.
Even at a restaurant, Mandy?
Even at a restaurant, mostly at a restaurant.
You guys, just close your eyes and picture this. Last night, Shauna and I go out to dinner. We're on a date, but guess what? We don't have a babysitter. Our kids are laying in the booth on their respective tablets. Shauna and I cackling, living, laughing, loving, getting a Negroni. And here's a little tip. When you get a Negroni, ask for 5 lemons and squeeze that into that Negroni and connect with your wife. Meanwhile, my kids watching Miss Rachel, my other kids building an empire on Minecraft. It's heaven.
I get it. I do understand it.
At the restaurant, not at home. It's not like we're at home and I'm like, open up your tablets. Baba cooked your dinner.
Totally. But like when do they learn, like when will you take the iPads away? When do you have to sit there and tolerate?
Great.
And how often is that?
Great. Let me tell you. The beginning of our dinner is all about connecting. So we have a whole chapter at the beginning of the dinner, which usually
are
we
you
start
making
with eras.
this, Sabrina?
No, Natasha, get out of here. Just get out of here. My box is pink right now. Okay. So the beginning of our dinner, I'm going to kind of launch into eras too, because I know, Natasha, you've got an era, and Mandy, we kind of, as you've now listened, we talk about like what era we're in. And my era in the past 72 hours has been like binging on being a selfish parent. This past weekend, I played a poker tournament that was all day on Saturday. Friday night was like a beautiful dinner with friends. And then Sunday was all day pickleball, 8 a.m. to 4 p.m. I am playing pickleball. I'm dehydrated. My doctor has recently told me to rest my hip. I'm not resting my hip. I am destroying my body, but having the most fun of my life. So then it's Sunday night, last night, I'm sitting down at dinner, and I purposely was like, the beginning of dinner is talking about what we love about mama. And so we just spent, 10 to 20 minutes talking about what we love about mama, what's special about mama.
Wait,
Obviously,
what we love? You have your special thing that you have the kids do is say what's special about you.
Not me. I'm Baba. Natasha, I'm Baba. I'm saying I'm sucking up to my wife because I have been MIA.
Okay, you're Baba, and then
I'm Baba. She's Mama, okay. And I'm like, what do you? Welcome to the podcast, Natasha. I talk about this every week with you. I was like just setting up like, let's grease the wheels for Mama to feel great, because it's been a big Mama in the spotlight weekend. And then we do roses and thorns. We always do roses and thorns. And then, as we put the orders in, it's about 20, 30 minutes in. And this is at a restaurant. Again, I'm like, live a little, enjoy. Let's make eye contact. But anyways, neither of you are looking at me like I've convinced you, so.
Well, I have been at a restaurant before, and I have seen, I am not lying, we were in this ski resort, and there was a family with 7 kids, and they all had a different device. And then the parent had a device, and they were all at this expensive dinner. And it's just like.
Well, the parents then suck.
I just think it's a bummer. But whatever, I don't mean to judge.
No, it's a bummer if the parents are not using the time to connect. Someone has to be connecting.
That's a good point. Have you read the book, The Anxious Generation?
I don't love reading.
She doesn't have time to read.
Me neither. Me neither at
all weekend with her 3-year-old.
Okay, first of all, I do also, as a divorcee, want to say I love that you prioritized like going out to dinner as a family, acknowledged that Mama took everything on for the weekend. That's huge. Good for you for like taking that step.
Sounds like I just got some points.
I like facilitated a conversation about this book, The Anxious Generation, at this like with these parents.
I have read it and seen Jonathan Haidt speak, so I'm on your page.
And don't get me wrong, there's a little bit of it. You're like, whoa, like kids they'll never recover. Their self-esteem will be terrible. And you're like, oh God. But there is something to be said about like being bored. And so one of the parents said that. He was like, we're never bored. We're like and I'm not. Like if I'm waiting by myself in the post office, like I'm on my phone. So I'm working on that. And plus you guys know, like you do so much with Instagram or you do content, like I'm on my phone a lot. So I'm trying to not model that. Not very well.
Yeah. I think that's important. But I think picking and choosing your moments is sort of the bracket that I'm under with this. It's like, I definitely, when it's the weekend and it's like, we wake up, we get to watch some cartoons, have a chill morning, but we will always do brain breaks. We will always do sort of like hang out in the yard, go find something to do, take apart a Lego set.
Another thing about the anxious generation that Sabrina really does do, because half of the book is about, the screen, but the other half is like kind of the premise of the book is that we're under protecting our kids online and over protecting them when it comes to going outside. So it's like the broken arm tax, like let's let them go out, and what's the worst that can happen if they're climbing a tree or whatever, So it's like he's very much a proponent, which I kind of hate, of letting the kids have a little more freedom. Walk into their friend's house, which I've started to do, which makes me terribly afraid. And I kind of will.
Your daughter can walk to her friend's house?
Well, one friend that's like a half a block away or a block away.
You're like watching.
I'm not watching actually, and it's like kind of making me stressed.
What do you think, Mandy?
No, I mean, I think it's good, but I hear you. Like
she's 8.
Yeah, so I have a 9-year-old and a 7-year-old, so I'm like right there with you. And we used to live in the middle of nowhere, so there was no walking to friends' houses. But when we moved, we'd like live in like a little town, and the kids can like ride their bikes downtown. And I want that for
downtown.
Them. Like,
downtown? That's where the drugs are.
I mean, like we are in Connecticut. We're in like a little like fancy New England town, but they can like ride their bikes and go get ice cream. And so I'm like, okay, like
at 7 years old.
No, like with the other kids, but like a group of them with like the 12-year-old or the 14-year-old. Yes.
Yeah, a group of those kids, that's actually, they're the big bad downtown. You see those kids rolling up, you're like, roll up the windows, honey. It's a gaggle of 9-year-olds.
Yeah, there's like e-bike gangs around here, you know? That's all the rage now.
I do want to ask, Mandy, what is a common piece of parenting advice that is out there that secretly makes kids behave worse?
Something you see on Instagram.
Okay, so fully, I need to first acknowledge that I am the junk you see on Instagram. So like
Great.
A little pot kettle there. But just like I think the pendulum swung too far and we're like so gentle that we've like erased all boundaries. And listen, everybody has feelings and we need to handle all of those feelings. But Natasha, you were talking in your last episode about how your daughter had big feelings and you like didn't lean into it or lecture or try to fix it. And you just like about her birthday party and let her like ride. I think we need to do more of that. I think you talked about this on another episode, and it's something I think about all the time. Like, what is the thing my kid's going to be in therapy for, and how do I avoid it? Mm-hmm. And so, like, oh my God, I better make sure I apologize, or I better make sure that I wasn't too harsh, or that I dealt with this perfectly. And we're never going to get out of it unscathed. So we're going to let that ride a little bit. But being so gentle in everything, where every feeling has to be like magnified for our kids, and they're not learning that sometimes like you're upset and that's okay, and we're going to keep it moving.
Yeah, not everything has to be a roundtable discussion about how to undo the way you feel. I like that. And what is one parenting behavior that you see that it makes you think like this is your problem, not your kid's problem?
Okay, so truthfully, most, right? Like when we talk about behavior change, it's usually how we're responding, right? Because we play a role in like whether a behavior is occurring again. And so I think being mindful about the role that we play in precipitating this, because when we talk about behavior change for kids, it's really about us changing our behavior, and that in turn changes theirs.
Cool. Got it. Yeah. I mean,
so
go
for example, my daughter went through a phase where she was like, nobody loves me. And so like, of course, like, right. Like we're all in touch with her. And I was like, everybody, I love you so much. Of course I love you. But then it happened like 4 more times that week. And I was like, oh, wait a second. I got to adjust this.
It actually reminds me of when my daughter was in preschool. The preschool teacher actually told me she keeps apologizing for things that she didn't do. You know, like if she's trying to draw something right, and it's like, oh, sorry. And then the teacher even said to me, like, it might be coming from the parents. And then I started to realize I will say sorry sometimes when it's not really sorry. You know, like if she would be riding her scooter and she would fall and she would say sorry, you know?
Yes,
and it was like, that was something I had to kind of correct in myself and notice in myself. And then she stopped doing it.
You left the teacher conference being like, I'm so sorry. I'm deeply sorry.
I mean, that was bold for the teacher to say it, but I appreciate criticism like that because I didn't really take it personally. I just think everything comes back to the patriarchy, so I'm just a product of that.
100%. But to that point, like women are conditioned to over apologize. My daughter went through the same thing. And then I recognized it in her, even though, like you said, I was probably modeling it. And I had to like give criteria about what things we say sorry for. Like if you've hurt someone's body or you've hurt someone's feelings, but like you're spilling the milk, we don't need to apologize. We just need to clean it up. But yeah, that, and even the like, nobody loves me, when I at first was like, of course we love you. I was like, oh no, am I teaching my daughter to like speak negatively about herself to get validation? Is she going to do that with a future partner one day? And she's going to be like crying in the corner so that they'll come console her. So again,
honestly,
I
feel like I have nobody loves me in my core as just a gimmick to get love. It's like they're all just trying out, I feel like, different mental illnesses. And it's like, the nobody loves me is kind of delicious. It's like when you say nobody loves me, you're immediately going to get love. You know?
So totally. But like so in behavior analysis, we talk about like replacement behavior. So what do I want her to do instead? And my middle daughter is so good. I joke that I feel like I'm on The Bachelor now because she'd be like, hi, can I like have a minute with you? Or like, can I have someone at one time?
Wait, because your kids probably really adore private time, alone time with you because you're always with a bunch of them, right?
Right. But also for her, like that behavior was attention seeking, right? She wanted to speak negatively. So I would tell her I loved her. And I was like, you can just tell me, like, I don't feel like you're paying attention to me. Now she has taken that and run with it. And that can be difficult in its own realm. But I think it's such a cool skill. She's like, hi, you're
Can I steal
not
you
paying attention. Literally. I need to speak to you privately. I'm like, okay, sure.
What are the chances that I'm going to get the one-on-one date this weekend?
It's really how it goes. For Christmas, each of the kids got a little coupon for like a one-on-one lunch or breakfast, no questions asked. And literally my daughter had it for like 20 minutes and was like, when can I use this? And I was like, whenever you'd like. You can use it whenever you'd like. So, but yeah, one-on-one time's coveted.
Off of the idea that we are all just like, just kind of these problems that are imprinting problems or like trying not to imprint. Is imprint the right word? I'm sorry if imprint is not right. Sorry. But like this idea of like,
wait,
I
Sabrina,
think
you say sorry like an American. Aren't you Canadian?
I had to shift it because I go to auditions where there's like 2 lines. And if I say something Canadian in one of them, they're like, well, she can't work.
I love that you corrected that. Okay, keep going.
Did I say it did I say it bisexually?
No, but
sorry
every Canadian says sorry. But you don't.
Sorry, Canada.
All right, so go ahead.
Well, just this idea that we're like these Russian dolls, or I think about it like updating iPhones. Like there's like the old iPhone. My parents were just visiting. They're the old iPhone. Mm-hmm. And then there's like, you know, like the way that they were talking to, and my parents are so great with my kids. But like there was one moment where we were talking about my kid, one of my kids, I'm trying to be vague. One of them's 2, one of them's 8, and both of them are wearing diapers at night because actually I'd love your insight on this. I feel like I'm just trying to be chill about it because his bladder's going to catch up when it does, and putting more pressure on him, I feel like is not going to fix the problem. My mom said something like, well, you know, you're going to get made fun of, like something like that, where it's like, you know, it's very embarrassing, which is like the old iPhone way.
Yep.
And then like my reaction to that is to be chill iPhone, but like, what is the plan? Or do you talk about that with parents ever?
Oh, absolutely. So first of all, it's totally age appropriate. Many boys actually are in this exact situation through 9 or 10 years old. So it's not that weird. But also like, I think you're talking about that pendulum where like your mom's shaming and you're like totally accepting, like maybe there is a middle ground of like, I don't know, setting a goal or working towards that or whatever that might look like. But yeah.
Mandy, why does that happen more with boys?
I don't know the science behind it, but I know that it is more common with boys, but it's also not uncommon with girls either. But boys tend to go a little bit older. It's not uncommon for them to still have like overnight accidents at like 9 or 10 years old.
Yeah, it's actually like, as someone who has to pee so much in the middle of the night, so that's why I need to set a goal, because truly if someone was giving me a diaper, I'd be like, heaven, I'm just going to keep pissing in this thing and having 8-hour stretches of REM sleep, baby. It's more about, maybe I should. I also, what I like about the way that I was raised is talking about prices a lot and budget. Like, I didn't like it when I was younger, and obviously, for obvious reasons, but now I'm like obsessed with it. I feel like it's really set me up to understand money. Do you think it's like, okay, first of all, I just put up a flyer because my kid's a DJ. My 8-year-old DJ Pee Pants. But he was talking about wanting to make money and, you know, have a little bit of financial autonomy, and I'm obviously ready to monetize. So we put up a flyer at his school that he would just exclusively for like at his school that he would DJ parties. Do you think that's okay? He's so little.
I love that. I think that's so great. I think anything to teach our kids a little bit about business or finding something you like that also makes you money. Yeah, I would totally support all of that. That's a great
What's
idea.
his price?
$50 for an hour, and it comes with like professional sound gear, and he'll curate a playlist.
Has he
booked a gig? Yeah.
You know what? Actually, if anyone wants to reach out, DM the podcast. I'll make sure that you're a safe person. No traps. No Jeffrey Epstein booby traps. Don't come at me. Don't come at me if you're in the files. But if you're outside files. Oh, Mandy, I guess this is probably outside of your expertise, but now that we're here, what the fuck, man? Pedophiles forever? Why?
I mean, like, it's insane. But honestly, this is going to be a really weird tangent. Just follow me for like, we're watching Game of Thrones. I never watched it when it came out. Yeah. And I really have like a little bit of like I'm like, wait a second. Why are women treated this way? Why is that girl 12 and being married? I don't like any of this. My partner's always like, remember? I was like, yeah, I know. But like, when did we evolve? I guess, did we? What happened here? So
no, in the Bible, it was like a waiting game for the girl to start bleeding. And once she finally bled, the men were like, married.
In the Bible and in old clips of Ashton Kutcher on Punk'd. Truly, there's a clip of him being like, oh, Hillary Duff, well, she's the one we're all waiting for to turn 18. Oh. Like, gross. So
right,
gross.
And like that wasn't even that long ago. Like, you're talking like 10, 15 years ago. And so, like, have we really come that far as a society?
I mean, I think the only answer, and I know you didn't ask me, Sabrina, but I feel like the only answer to any of this is more women in power, more women working the jobs, more women talking, more women podcasts.
Thanks, Natasha, but I didn't ask you, frankly.
More women creating TV shows about women, more information about things that affect women, like menopause or whatever it is. Like, I just think like just more women voices. And, you know, part of me like wants to retire every day, but I'm like, you have to keep talking because it's like, I don't know. We need more stories about women.
Of course. You're entirely correct. And also, I'm like, where did all the Pizzagate people go when it came to the Epstein files? Like, they don't care about the file. They're just like, they were just obsessed with finding pedophiles in the basement of a pizza store. Like, why? What's up with that? Anyways, this is a tangent that I'm happy we went on because it got Natasha to finally write her speech for when she runs for mayor of this podcast, which honestly, I'd vote for you based on that.
Well, it's this whole like concept of like men in power, and even the whole thing that came out with P. Diddy, like talk about people being silenced.
Come out with him?
No, I mean like but you see the Netflix? It was Netflix, right? Did you see his
I know.
P. Diddy documentary? Awful. Right, but like again, people are afraid to speak up. People are afraid for their lives, and there's this like huge power dynamic that still exists, and I think that's really tough.
You know, I did a gig. It was in place of Tig. She couldn't do it last minute. She's like, "Can you open for?" It was like a group of women victims. Like it was all women who had been victimized, and they wanted comedy to open up for it.
I love Tig's like, I'm actually unavailable.
And it was crazy because I was fourth on the list. And by the time I went up, this has never happened to me before doing stand-up, but I ended my set in tears because it was like so upsetting to me. It was like women who had been victimized by Uber drivers. But one thing that really stuck out to me was 4 of the women on the show were Cosby survivors. And they all had the same story. They were getting together forever, trying to find something, trying to find lawyers. The lawyers were fighting. Nothing penetrated the situation. No pun intended.
Bad word.
Sorry. Nothing could like cut through. And then they said, the day I opened up my laptop and saw Hannibal Buress making fun of Cosby, and they said chills went through my body, and we were like, all the girls started texting each other, and they're like, oh my God, look at this. And that is how he finally went down. So it's like we also need men to be speaking up about this. And it really moved me that it was actually the man who was able to make Cosby fucking suffer. So
Yes.
Well, so I had a really interesting conversation with my partner. So obviously, like, the boys in my house are 16, 14, 12, and then there's a 9-year-old. And so I asked my partner, I was like, hey, like, what did your dad talk to you about sex? And he had this really funny story where his dad sat him down and drew fallopian tubes. And I was like, what do you think these are? The worst part is my partner knew. And his dad was like, I thought you were going to say it looked like a goat. And I was like, okay. But anyway, I was like, you have to sit the boys down. So he sat them all down. They had this middle school dance. And I was like, we need to talk about consent. We need to talk about what this looks like. We need to talk about a woman doesn't have to say no. You need to read body language. You need to check in. And my partner's looking at me. I was like, oh yeah, if I'm going to be part of this raising boys, we're raising men who are going to be respectful. And so we dove headfirst into that conversation.
Yeah, because I think that historically we've always thought everyone. I love a shortcut. I love getting treated. Everyone loves to sit in first class. Everyone loves, but what I think historically men have not realized is there is no shortcut when it comes to treating people kind. It's like the relationships that you are cultivating are either built on real connection, or if you feel like, the men in your life that have taught you to like pressure women or trick women, that's like some kind of cool currency. I think that every man reaches a point. I think this is why we're finally breaking through and having the rules change around what's okay to say. It's the reason why Ashton Kutcher, that clip of him talking about Hillary Duff, like she's like something to be like attacked the second she turns 18, is like now seen as pathetic, because I think it is men like your partner who are like the updated iPhone saying, I want a real relationship and I want my kids, my sons and daughters, to have the best shot at truly connecting, and not just like this idea of like Pepe Le Pew and a man like tricking a woman into like bouncing on his dick.
No, but it's so true. And there's like this premise of like age. Oh, well, it's age appropriate. I was like, no, I don't care. Like, it's not age appropriate. If I hear it, it's not in my house. Like, no, you're going to treat people respectfully. And, you get into these teenage boys and peer pressure and stuff, and you hear some of their friends, and like, I will pull them aside when they leave and be like, let's be real clear. That's not happening. That kind of thing.
Yeah. It's really sad when you hear peripherally when you hear it. Like, I kind of want to walk around one day a week in a cape looking for idiots that are spreading misinformation. The cape will be Captain Angry Dyke.
Wait, so Sabrina, did you get into your eras? What is your era?
Oh, my era was just that I am full selfish era weekend. My weekend, like, because I feel like we schedule so much for our kids. And, I'm taking Wolfie to tennis today, and then he's going to have his Minecraft coding club, and then he's going to have his puppet club. It's all this stuff that we like fill our kids' calendars with. And I am just like, my era is being mindful of filling my world with joy as well. And also making sure I have to, another thing that I've realized within that is like, Saturday came around, I'd played this poker tournament, and then I realized like, oh God, my parents are visiting. Shauna's been picking up all the pieces, and we need to get in touch with a sitter and see about her doing yoga on Sunday. So that got done. And that's something that I think in the future, when I binge on my own activities, I'll make sure that in advance, as I can see my cup filling up, to make sure that Shauna's got the freedom to do the same. Because I think, the mom, the one that carries the baby, often carries this extra weight of like having guilt around that. And I don't know. I guess my era is promoting just stop being a parent and go hit a wiffle ball.
See, that's funny because that is a very father point of view. Like, I don't think a lot of fathers, my husband included, have a pretty easy time binging on their own whims. And I feel like it is very hard for me to do that, And my husband even said yesterday, he's like, my first thing is our daughter. And then underneath that is like building fires for the family, like money fires, and then him having fun and doing his thing. And I was thinking, I feel like my second layer, if my first layer is my daughter, my second layer is just keeping up with the house, making sure we have the food, the laundry's done, she has the right shoes to wear, she has the lunchbox she needs, I've done her reading for 30 minutes, and it's like by the time all of that stuff is done, the groceries are bought. I'm like exhausted and spent, and like I don't know how to find my own joy. And he's like, well, just let the laundry go.
Yeah, I think that's to be honest, the dinner ended up, once the tablets came out, there was this sort of real discussion with Shauna, and Shauna was like, I need to figure out easier points of joy. Like, you just like so easily just scheduled all of this stuff, and when she goes to try to access it, there's like a couple moms that she's been wanting to get together with. Every time they try, it's like it falls apart. It really is like, I think when we talk about female stories and stories of moms, it's like it's talked about it as a trope, but like, how can we actually create more space for the moms to go live a little more like the dads? And I think the answer is that the dads have to step up and push it a little bit. Like, there was a trip to Mexico with her friends that she was like not gonna do, and my parents were visiting, so I just like bought the tickets and I surprised her for her birthday, and she went, and it was like that filled her cup, but it was not something that she would ever try to orchestrate for herself. Whereas if something like that has come up with me, I got invited to go on Selena Gomez's private jet, and I said, I'm going. There wasn't like a part of me that was like, I'm not going. Whereas it's so, I think, woven into the spine of moms to be like, I have to be prioritizing the family. And it's like, goes back to that analogy of like putting your own oxygen mask on. I think that it's like underexplored how important it is for the parents, I guess, or the partners of the mother, the primary, to like push their freedom.
I think you nailed it on the head. I had a therapist speak very directly to me, being like, what are you doing for yourself? And same thing. It's like, well, when am I supposed to do that? Like when the kids have soccer practice, or I'm supposed to leave early in the morning? And what you said about just buying the ticket for your wife, that is it. Like, you need to create this space, because traditionally men just take the space. Like, I'm doing this, and we adjust around that. But I mean, I feel a lot of guilt for taking, even if it's like 8 a.m. on a Saturday. I'm like, but like, shouldn't I be doing like lazy Saturday morning, or shouldn't I be making the pancakes? And I think it's really hard. The way that I figured it out for like the gym for myself is to take away from my own time. So to take away from like my working time, I like carve that hour out, rather than, and this comes back to, I think, women, like for me at least, never wanting to inconvenience anybody. So how can I make it as convenient for everybody as humanly possible? And like, that's so deeply ingrained and really hard to figure out once you're in the throes of motherhood.
Maybe we can have everybody who's listening who relates to this set a goal that in the next week they will rob from not themselves to do something for themselves.
But then wait, where do you get the time from? I forgot.
You get the time from something that was taking care of the house, taking care of the kid, and you say, actually, it's important for mom to take care of mom, so fuck all y'all. I'm going to go.
I have an idea too.
Yeah.
I think what would really help me in my particular relationship is outsourcing a few more tasks. Like, he should just be getting the groceries every week. And like, you know what else he'll do is
Your dog's like, I do get the groceries.
You know what else he'll do? He'll be like, we just went grocery shopping. But it's like, no, we need groceries every week. Like, even though there's still like chips left, like we need to get more milk. We need to get more bread. We need to get more eggs. Like, we're out of bleach. Like, it
drink the bleach. Drink the bleach if you bump on any of the groceries that have arrived. Mix it with the milk that we don't have.
But yeah, just outsourcing a little bit more of it,
Speaking of outsourcing, we have a meme of the week. So the next person to tee up the next topic, I don't know if you've heard of her. She's a good friend of mine, Cardi B.
Like my kids, they have school till 3 p.m., right? And after school, I don't care, and I don't want y'all at home talking about like I'm a little tough and shit. I don't give a this is what I work hard for. After school, my kids, 4 times a week, they have tutoring, reading, math, whatever. They have tutoring, mandatory in my house. Then, Culture had piano or she got gym class. Wave, he got sports class and he still got to do the tutoring. And I don't know, I'm sleepy. I don't want to hear that shit. I don't want to hear that shit. It's discipline. It gotta be in you, and you have to be better than me. I want you to be better than me. There's things that I cannot do that I want my kids to do.
Mandy, what do you think about that approach?
Okay, like I feel like this is my theme. I feel like maybe there's a middle ground, right? Like, obviously we have 7 kids. We were across 14 teams in the fall, right? Wow. So it was a lot. I want to support each kid exploring their things, but they also do need downtime and time to be bored. And so how do we thread that needle? Do they need to be on 5 different soccer teams? Are they going to the Olympics? Like, what is our realistic expectation?
Yeah, I feel like maybe for you with 7, you need to say, run it like a reality show. Run it like Beast Games, where you're like, look, the top 5 players will get to continue intramural soccer.
Yeah, there you go. I like that. Who will vote them off? I'll do like Abby Lee Dance Academy. I'll do a pyramid each week. Did you make the pyramid?
Yes. Back to the Bachelor.
Mandy, do you have any thoughts about overscheduling the kids though? Like not, that because I have noticed I have my kid in like 5 different things, and then one of her friends at school who's like the star achiever. The mom told me she just does swimming 3 times a week. And I'm like, oh, with that? I'm always, my instinct is like, because my mom put me in tons of stuff until I found my passion. So my instinct is to just like overdo it. And then they're going to find the thing they're going to do with perseverance and passion. And their talent is going to come alive, So I'm like always looking for that.
Yeah, so I think like exposure so they can find what they like is always really important, but also like just finding that barometer, like what is realistic for us. Like, I've like fine-tuned this over the years, but it's 2 activities. So usually it's like soccer and dance, or dance in a club, or lacrosse and dance, or whatever that might look like. But it just gets to a point where they're doing so much they don't enjoy anything, or they're completely overscheduled. But my daughter also has ADHD, so it is a fine line of like the more structured she is, the easier it is for her, the more predictable it is for her. So trying to navigate all of that, but also teaching her how to like make her own predictability. Like, we're home. Last week we had like 3 snow days. Okay, like what does that look like? Outside time, TV time, reading time. Like, how are you going to structure your day?
You okay, Sabrina? You seem very distracted.
I just read a text from Shauna. A keen eye will have noticed that she dropped off a tennis racket while we've been recording.
That is a good wife. See, I thought she brought you coffee.
No, she brought the tennis racket for Wolfie's tennis that I'm going to bring him to. I guess that's connected to my answer, which is I feel like there's been a meme going around about this where it's like, don't let your kids pick what they want to do. You tell them. And I'm kind of, I don't want to sound like an asshole, but I am kind of like, I love racket sports. So I put my kid in racket sports. So far, he's into it. He'll let me know, no one wants to drive to a thing to stand around for an hour and everyone's just kind of twiddling their thumbs and no one's enjoying it. I'm keeping an eye on that. If he continues to enjoy it, then, I hope I beat Shauna because Shauna's putting him in soccer. Shauna's jockeying for soccer. I'm jockeying for tennis. And I did tell him, I wonder what you think about this. We are like a 0 video game household. We think the consoles are bad, but then we'll like all go binge at a Dave & Buster's, it's not like it's not allowed. If he goes to a friend's house and they've got video games, he can play. But I told him that the only way he could ever get a video game would be if he was ranked as a number 1 tennis player in California or win number 1 at a tournament. So I'm like,
I think what you're talking about is that yin to that yang. Like if you like show determination and perseverance and you work really hard at this one thing, then we have room for like these more like nonsense fun things. I don't think that it's a good goal setting, right?
I will
like,
say too, my daughter took one tennis class with your kid, Sabrina, and the feedback from the teacher was she's not ready. She's not at his level. So,
which is not a very high level. I don't mean to bully you. I'm sorry.
Well, it's funny because Moshe's obsessed with surfing, so he's got her in surf camp, and she's always surfing. And I love racket sports, and I want to play tennis with her. And she liked tennis, and I bought her a racket, but I haven't been able to figure out how to squeeze it in between ice skating and aerial silks and piano and martial arts and now surfing, you know?
I mean, with the tennis, what you could do is just like be bouncing a ball and talking, because that's helpful. If she can bounce a ball up and down or bounce, just like doing little competitions like that.
That's a great idea, Sabrina. I really like that. Just have him at the house, not
have
in
him
the
at
car.
the house. That's how Rowan's too, and he's so good at hand-eye coordination. He's just like naturally sort of started playing with Wolfie, our older son's t-ball equipment, and I'm like, that's the kid that's probably going to go pro. Wolfie doesn't listen to this podcast, so I can talk this way.
There's something to be said about those youngers. Like we ski, and my 4-year-old like went on like one of the toughest trails, and I was like, yeah, because she is a 4-year-old. She's the youngest in a like, where are you going? I'm keeping up. Don't leave me behind. She's not a like, I'm a baby, hold me. She's like, let me down. I want to do what they're doing. So yeah, she probably will be the most athletic of the three of them because she's been exposed the most.
Do you feel like that's the most common? Is that the second that the baby child is like, yeah, why wouldn't I do what my older sibling is doing?
Totally. But also like Lola, so she has ADHD, and softball was we did softball, and like when she swung for like the 100th time, I was like, okay, maybe this is not our sport. So we switched and we do lacrosse, and it's faster pace and whatever, but I'm not letting anybody else try softball. So I do think there is an element of like, personal preference. If one of them picks up a softball, I guess at recess or something, and really wants to, I'll definitely like explore it. But I do try and push them in the direction of the things I like a little bit.
Well, speaking of pushing them in the direction, if one of the daughters picks up a softball, you know where she's headed. And if you
hopefully, right? Hopefully.
If you need any guidance on that, you've given us so much of your wealth of knowledge. I'll happily walk you through having a gay daughter. It's just a matter of if they pick up the softball, and if they whether they pick it up or not. Picking up a softball should be the new coming out of the closet.
I love that. I knew from the moment you picked the softball up.
Exactly. Guys, I knew from the moment this listener picked up the phone, and actually, I think you can record questions online. Go to our Instagram, which is Good Enough PCast, and click on the link to be like this next guy. But this next guy has recorded a question for us. And yes, it is a guy. Yes, we do have men listening to this podcast.
Hello, Natasha and Sabrina. I'm excited to talk to you about parenting. I actually talked to Natasha and Moshe on their podcast about parenting a couple of years ago. So I'm excited to talk to you too. Especially, I'm excited to get the lesbian point of view as far as this goes. I am a gay stay-at-home dad, and I have 2 kids, 1 and 3, 1.5 and 3.5. And I feel like I'm having trouble finding that village. I'm finding a hard time making friendships with other parents. I don't meet a lot of other stay-at-home dads. If I do, they tend to be straight dads that are kind of at the park with their kids. And that also is a whole other, it's kind of, I feel like, anyways, my point is I'm having a hard time finding the village. And I feel like I see moms just pair up and get togethers, and they have little, wine nights without their kids. And I don't have that, and I need that. And I feel like gay moms have an easier time finding that. Lesbians, they will just, pile up in a car with their kids and go to a park and make a day of it. I've seen it in the wild. I can't find that. Help.
I have the perfect solution.
Give it.
Host your own party, baby. He needs to make up a fake thing, Evan's half birthday party, invite all the moms he thinks are cute, and they obviously will want to hang out with him. and just host a party. You have to be proactive in these situations because moms suck. You're not with the people you want to be with.
Moms suck.
Well, your chosen moms, you know,
Yes.
like the ones, but it's like starting to get to the point where, you know, the kids want to be around their friends that they meet at a random school, you know?
Yeah, I think that the question seems to be a little bit loaded with this idea of what everyone else is up to. That's kind of this like built on this like Instagram myth of like all the moms are having a great time and all the lesbians are piled up on each other's shoulders through the sunroof of the car, driving around town, high-fiving other lesbian parents. And the truth for me is it was actually pretty recent, and you know, our Wolfie's 8, but it was kind of in the past 2-3 years that we started to meet other gay moms. And we were like, you know, we would gawk at other gay moms like we were conservative people seeing a gay person for the first time, because it's like, oh my God, there's other people like us, and really like get giddy about trying to arrange a play date. And then you also start to realize like, you know what, there's just great people and shitty people that look like you, that have the same sexual orientation as you. And it's more about just connecting with someone who's feeling like you have chemistry and shared experience. And so many people are doing this journey of parenting differently and have different priorities. And I would say, don't be too picky about making it like the gay dad gang. Be like, who's cool and parents the way I parent? Who do I like? Who seems like I have friendship chemistry out there? And don't believe the hype that you think you're seeing, that everyone else is having this easy time. Because I will say, again, it kind of goes back to what we were saying about moms socializing. Like, my wife is someone that when you meet her, everybody wants to hang out with her. Like, she just has that vibe. Like, and off of Natasha's suggestion of invite people to your party, that is her vibe. And she even is having a hard time in this experience of parenthood of like, what is this next chapter group of friends? You know, you watch Sex and the City and it's like, where are my Samanthas and JoJos and Siwas? I don't watch Sex and the City.
I think, Sabrina, you're so right, though. Like, I have to say, I have to validate a second. It's hard to find your people when you get into parenting. I really think that. Because, like, you're talking parenting style. You're talking, like, lifestyle. Like, are you cool with coming over and we have a glass of wine while our kids play? Are you not? Are you, like, highly structured in your play dates? My best friend and I had kids at the exact same time. All three of our kids are, like, a couple weeks apart. And I was fooled into thinking that it was that easy. And then I went to go make mom friends and I was like, all right. So it's not an easy thing to do. As your kids get older and get into more activities, you kind of find your niche. I feel like the sidelines or whatever, but it's hard to do.
It is. It really is. And then with your time feeling so finite, it feels like it's like, well, I've got to make it count. And I think that's another thing that we've been talking about in our family is like light touch. Everything light touch. Get together with someone that you don't know whether you're going to want to talk to again. Like if somebody's like, I think that also we get older and we start to like harden into like what is cool and what is not and what is lame and what is, and I'm making it sound kind of like immature, but it is this like predisposed idea of who we get along with. And I think that one of the parts of me that makes my social life easier is like, I like crazy people. Look, I do a podcast with Natasha Leggero. You know, you can't push me away. I'm coming.
I'm so sane.
You're so what?
Sane. I want to be more crazy.
Girl, you got to see the way I talk about you. You're insane. You're a lunatic. We're all crazy. We're all crazy. We all feel lonely. We all are looking for validation. And like, just know that like for the listener, the way you feel, even the most popular, cool moms or dads out there have felt the same way. It's like constant ups and downs. And then we've got this moving target of like these kids to drive to soccer and tennis. And
in between all of that, we have to read the Epstein files.
And people want us to brush our teeth. Guys, this has been such a great episode. Thank you so much, Mandy.
Yeah,
Thank you guys so much for having me on. I appreciate it.
Natasha, sorry that you lost. Sorry that you lost. Mandy texted me while we were recording saying I was the secret winner.